What's up, everybody? It's Man of Low Moral Fiber here. My name's Luke, and in this video we're going to be taking another look at the Tidal Wave as a part of my Does It Suck series. The Tidal Wave is a unique Jakobs shotgun that is available as a quest reward from the Uncle Teddy mission out in the Arid Nexus Badlands. Like many other weapons, it did receive a buff as a part of the community patch, which is why we're going to be taking another look at it. In addition to receiving a buff, it also has an optional replacement where you can replace the Tidal Wave with the Flayer from Borderlands The Pre Sequel. In this video, we're going to start by looking at the unpatched version of the Tidal Wave, and then move on to the patched version of the Tidal Wave. In the next Does It Suck video, we'll take a look at the Flayer, and then decide which one I want to keep in my patch. So, like I said in this video, we're going to start with the unpatched version of the weapon. This one here has a Jakobs grip, we have a Hyperion stock, and a Torque grip. It has the Dox prefix, which is going to be the critical hit damage accessory. In my testing with this weapon, I found that the Dox version was better than the Rustler's version or any other version that I could come up with. Specifically, the extra pellet version was a little bit too wide of a spread, and I felt like I was missing some damage that I could have been getting. Obviously, the Tidal Wave has a unique spread pattern, where it shoots out in a horizontal line and it has bouncy bullets. If you don't have points in velocity, they, go up and down a lot more and stuff as well. But since we do have points in velocity, the pellets move a little bit quicker. That's further boosted by our class mod here. We're going to be using a legendary sniper class mod because it does give us a significant boost to one shot, one kill. We're going to be using that in combination with a cooldown relic to give us deception more often, and we'll be able to get one shot, one kill in deception pretty frequently. And if we can land critical hits up close on an enemy, even if we're using a relatively weak Jakobs shotgun, hopefully we'll be able to take them out. We'll see how that plays out here. We'll mess around in the first part of the Washburn Refinery before applying the patch. So this enemy already got woken up by my bouncy bullets. We'll try to get a little bit closer to him. Did he already get slagged? Okay, he didn't get slagged there. So we'll just try to get closer to him. It's usually better when I can knock off his gun before we get started on this, just to kind of give you a readout on how much damage it can do. Oops, missed that critical hit there. So you can see that when you're up close, it does okay. When you're even at a intermediate range, it seems like it's easy to miss with this weapon because the spread pattern is a little bit weird. So we'll get even closer here. I just don't want to get blown up by him. Alright, so we'll just have to get closer. You can see that this weapon does lack some stopping power, and sometimes it feels like you're missing shots that you should definitely be hitting. Perhaps that's just due to the weirdness of its pattern. So we'll go down here and see if we can't find a more optimal use case scenario for it. I'm going to throw that grenade back there. Get these guys nice and slagged up. And you can see with Bore, it can definitely take out some enemies. When you have enemies slagged and kunai'd and you're getting your ambush bonus, it's definitely not terrible. It can do okay. It's just not as powerful as a lot of other weapons. A lot of other Jakobs shotguns in particular. And we'll take a look at that here in just a second. Just trying to be a little bit careful. Obviously, this weapon at range is really weak, so that's one of the reasons why I'm not moving, too aggressively at the moment. If I had another Jakobs shotgun that was more powerful, such as a quad or even a triquarta or something, we could be a little bit more aggressive. Because we have this weaker weapon, we have to play a little bit more cautiously. Let's go ahead and try to get these guys lined up for a bore. They weren't really into that for a minute. They were really kind of scooting at the same time, so bummer there. We'll go ahead and encourage this exploder to blow up, and then we'll go take a look at our badass friend here in just a second. I wonder if we'll be able to get a one-shot on the badass with this weapon. I assume that it's possible. I've probably done it before, but we'll take a look at it. You probably have to get it lined up just right, so we'll make sure we have enough grenades here. That's plenty of grenades. We have plenty of ammo. I can't imagine it will take more than 100 ammo to kill him, so we should be fine there. Get a couple grenades out there. Get some kunai on him. Try to hit him right there. Okay, so he was, within one melee of death after we shot him. So pretty close to a one-shot, one-kill on that guy. And that's kind of how potent this weapon is, right? It can do okay. You have to scoot around with it and play a little bit cautiously and stuff like that. But it's not really that powerful of a weapon. Like, in practice, I don't think it's any more effective than a regular coach gun. And if we're looking here at the coach gun, this is just a non-unique blue rarity Jakobs sniper. Now, on the card, it does say that the Tidal Wave has better damage. They both have the same accuracy, but obviously with the unique spread pattern of the Tidal Wave, that's kind of all thrown out the window. And because the Doc's coach gun has a little bit less damage on the card, you would think, well, the Tidal Wave is going to be a lot better. But in reality, I've found that the coach gun is pretty much just as effective. If we take a look at how the Tidal Wave shoots here again, it's that horizontal line. And the coach gun is going to be a more traditional shotgun spread pattern. And if we shoot it up close here, you can see with our accuracy boost from precision, the spread pattern is pretty tight. Let's go ahead and take a look at how the coach gun performs here just real quick. We can reload this area just to kind of illustrate that the Tidal Wave, is not that strong. Sidewinder is a prefix for it that I just saw a second ago. Anywho, we'll take a look at how the coach gun does here real quick. Just stock up on grenades and shotgun ammo. I don't know if we'll do the whole thing with the coach gun, but just to kind of show you that the coach gun is just as powerful. Move the coach gun to the top slot there so that I wouldn't get confused. So again, one shot to knock off that guy's arm there. Looks like this guy got accidentally slagged by my shield. And we'll just move forward. Alright, so we've got some enemies grouped up down here again. We'll go ahead and throw some slag grenades. And then we'll get all of these guys grouped up. And you can see that, yeah, the coach gun is just as powerful as the Tidal Wave. And a lot easier to use, I would say. You can more reliably knock off an enemy's shoulder or something with the coach gun than you can with the Tidal Wave in my mind, because of the Tidal Wave's weird spread pattern that was sometimes causing me to miss shots that I thought I would hit with a normal shotgun. That could probably be somehow worked around if you learned the intricacies of it a little bit better, but I don't know. I was trying to jump to get the double critical angle on that R-loader pair there. Probably a little bit stupid. Alright, so this guy's been bored a couple times, but apparently nothing was working on him. He's finally dead now, though. Looks like we have a couple more enemies up here. Try to get them both slagged, I guess. Alright. You have to be a little bit careful with the hot loaders because you don't want to stand right next to them when they blow up. Let's take a look at how this does against the super badass loader. I'm sure that we can, get real close to a one hit again, or maybe we'll actually get the one hit this time. What I noticed about the Tidal Wave to an extent is that it is rather inconsistent. It's fickle about when it's actually going to provide you with the best damage. I messed up here because I let him get in his stomp mode, so my mistake there, but you can see that even when we're out of deception, it does a big chunk of his health pretty quickly. So the coach gun is, I would say, more effective than the Tidal Wave, and so that's unfortunate. You don't want that. You don't want your unique version of the weapon to be better than the to be worse, than the non-unique version. So it seems that there was a mistake there, that the Tidal Wave is definitely undertuned. So let's go ahead and apply a buff to the Tidal Wave and see how it does. Now, obviously, in comparison to like a purple weapon, a Tidal Wave is just not even close. We could run this with the quad, but I'm sure you guys have seen that before. A quad just absolutely decimates these enemies. So what I'm saying is that the Tidal Wave is really, really bad. In my mind, that a blue unique should be really far above its non-unique counterpart, and it should be competitive with a good purple build of a similar weapon. These are both Jakobs shotguns. So a blue unique Jakobs shotgun should have some, like niche usages or some advantages over a purple weapon, in my opinion. That would be where I think unique blues should be. And obviously some unique blues like this are way better than their purple versions. So with that in mind, the Tidal Wave is definitely underwhelming, especially since it's an allusion to a pretty well-loved character from Borderlands 1. Let's apply the community patch and see how the Tidal Wave is performing now. I think the Tidal Wave is an interesting weapon. I feel that it should actually perform better with bore than it does. So let's go ahead, stock up on ammo and stuff again. Perfect. Let's take a look at the buffed Tidal Wave now. So now we can see that it has even more damage over a coach gun. It has a massive magazine size now, which is interesting. And it's still got a very high fire rate, so we should be able to pump those out pretty quickly. It no longer says that it consumes 2 ammo per shot, and I don't think it does. So this should be buff. Like, this should kill things very, very quickly. Let's take a look at how it does against this first guy. I guess we'll be getting one shot, one kill less often, right? So that's something to keep in mind. We're still obviously getting our boost to optics here, or not optics, that's optics, but precisions. So we should be good. It'll be interesting to see how it does. Alright, that's not that bad. Okay, so it's pretty good. Like, it does okay, even without slag there. Let's see how it does against, that doorway's always tough. Let's see how it does against some slagged enemies here. Oh, I love the 0 fuse time on that patched negative. But yeah, you can see that it just rips through these dudes now. So, I don't know. Am I going to like this better than the Flayer? I've heard a lot of people say that the Flayer is pretty dope. Still feel like I'm missing shots with this that I should be hitting. Like, it felt like at least one of those should have hit a critical hit. Oh god, I'm going to die to this fire dot, definitely. Playing a little too aggressive with the, buffed Tidal Wave here. Perhaps I thought it was a little bit stronger than it was at the start. Man, it still feels like you sometimes just miss shots that you would think are, going to hit their target. And it's weird. It seems like even when you're up close, you miss shots that you sometimes hit at range. So, a little bit strange there. We'll see if we can mess with this exploder through the scaffolding. Maybe it'll be good for that. It doesn't look like it. Looks like we're having a little trouble with that. So we'll let that exploder go by the wayside there, and then we'll try to do good damage here on this badass loader. So we're getting wrecked by the badass at the moment. Try to recover our health here. Perfect. Alright, so there are a couple enemies here that we might be able to line up for a boar. Excellent. So it does okay with boar. I really feel like a lot of, bullets with wavy patterns still do better than this weapon, but meh. I guess it's kind of okay when you have a backstop for your enemies too because of the bouncing bullets, but man, it still seems kind of a letdown. I was excited about it at first, but now I'm feeling a little bit let down by it. So we'll see how it does here against this badass that we have a little bit more control over. I'm going to remember to throw my decoy way out here so that he goes into firing mode instead of stompy mode. Perfect. Alright, so almost a one-shot, one-kill again. Like I said, this weapon's just inconsistent. I know a one-shot, one-kill is probably possible, but sometimes you feel like you line it up well and it just doesn't do well. Also, I've noticed with this weapon, the bouncy bullets wake up a lot of enemies that are otherwise inactive, so that can actually make some areas a little bit more difficult than they would be if you were using a weapon where the bullets behaved a little bit more normally. Obviously, there are other ways to wake them up before you get to them as well, but what I'm saying is that there are certain maps and certain spawn areas where, you've already got enough enemies looking at you. You don't need to call the next batch over yet. For example, one area that I can think that might be is the Wildlife Exploitation Preserve, where, certain pockets of wildlife aren't yet attacking you. If you've already got, certain other wildlife attacking you as well, like rabid stalkers or something, you don't need the rat coming down as well. You don't need to attract the attention of the long-off Hyperion personnel who aren't doing anything. So, just something to keep in mind. So this weapon can get one-shot, one-kills, obviously, if you're close up. Let's go ahead and see if we can get it out of deception here. Doesn't look like it. And again, that weird inconsistency where you start sometimes and you get a ton of damage and then you get a couple hits with almost no damage. Blew up the exploder, but not the one I wanted to blow up. Alright, let's make sure we don't catch this fire dot. Man, it's just not a very fun weapon to use either. Like, other Jakobs shotguns are significantly more satisfying to use because you don't miss shots that you think you should be hitting, which I think is one of the things that makes this weapon not fun to use. Which is a shame, obviously, like I said, because TK Baja is kind of a cool character and everything. I really like the DLC, the TK Baja's. Oh, it wasn't TK Baja's, was it? He was just a zombie in it. It was like Dr. Zed's or Dr. Ned's or something. That DLC was cool. TK Baja was a character in that as well. Alright, so yes, it's got to be possible to get a one-shot, one-kill with this weapon. That guy was literally 1 health. Or he looked like he was literally 1 health. Whatever. We're going to move on. I can't blow up that barrel from here. There we go. Alright, we got 2 enemies here that we might be able to group up for a little bit of bore action. Yeah, it looks like the power loader got wrecked. The bull loader's taking some damage now. We'll go ahead and finish him off. Perfect. So it's still a, an effective mobbing weapon even without the patch. And what I'm noticing is that even though it has a buff here, even though it has a much bigger magazine size, I don't know if that's truly a great buff for it, because you get one shot, one kill a lot less. I guess it makes a difference on some other characters. Perhaps Maya would benefit from this pretty decently well when you have chain reaction going, and a bigger magazine size would definitely be better for that. But I feel like the character who has the absolute most proficiency with Jakobs shotguns, other than potentially Sal in some rather ridiculous setups with the Orphan Maker and stuff, but the character who has the I guess non-broken power with it would be Zero. I feel like Salvador is kind of an obvious choice for the most powerful with almost any weapon, but disregarding Salvador, Zero does really well with Jakobs shotguns, right? And yeah, so the buff, it doesn't benefit Zero that much, but it could do okay with Maya, I'd imagine. Overall, though, it's just a very, very underwhelming weapon, even with the patch, which is kind of crazy, because it looks like they gave it a pretty significant boost, right? But the firing pattern is still underwhelming. It's unsatisfying to shoot this weapon when you think you're going to get good damage on an enemy and you end up getting almost nothing. That's weird, especially when another Jakobs shotgun would have wrecked that guy. So in that regard, I don't know, it's really kind of weak. And there's another blue Jakobs shotgun as well, the Triquerta, which is a lot better than the Tidal Wave. Oops, don't want to drop the Tidal Wave here. We'll go ahead and kill this guy with it, and then we'll take a look at how it compares to the Triquerta. Alright, so we'll go down here, and where is it? Yeah, this weapon is much, much, much better than the Tidal Wave. You can see there that, it's got higher damage on the card, but also the spread pattern's so much better. Like, if we just shoot this one, yeah, that's going to do a lot of damage. And so I just really don't like the spread pattern on the Tidal Wave. So I'm excited to take a look at what the Flayer is going to be like, because the Tidal Wave's still a little bit of a letdown. I wouldn't say that it necessarily sucks, but even with a boost in damage and magazine size and stuff, it's still weak, compared to a lot of other shotguns. So I don't know. Maybe with Maya it's a much better weapon than it was before the patch, but with Zero it's it's still kind of hitting the same break points, on a lot of enemies. If you're really up close to them and you have them slagged and kunai'd, it can kill them. If you're standing a little bit away from them, or you don't have a perfect angle, or you don't have enemies to bore well, or enemies have bad geometry around them, it's still kind of underwhelming, and that's a little bit disappointing to me. Like I said, TK Baja is a cool character, but only so much can be done to save a weapon that was broken by design, I guess. So we'll take a look at the Flayer in the next video. I'm excited for the Flayer. I've heard a couple people say it's really, really good with Zero. We'll see how it does. Yikes. So this is one of those situations where you're like, come on, Tidal Wave. How did you not kill him there when he was at almost no health? We'll go ahead and start picking up some more ammo here, because we are going to need some grenades, I would assume, to get through Hurley and the double super badass loaders. Not in that order. I'm going to take that grenade there. We should still be able to get some more grenades here. Now, Hurley will be an interesting target for this weapon because his critical hit spots are elevated a little bit higher than my shooting plane. And so because of that, we're going to... are you joking me? None of those bullets hit? There we go. Like I said, this weapon's very inconsistent. It's going to be interesting to see if we're going to be able to get strong critical hits with this weapon. So there is one guy right here. We'll go ahead and try to slag him. Oh god, if I could jump on these stairs, that would have been huge. Whatever. Go ahead and try to just outshoot him. Oh, that barrel. If he would have hit that barrel, I would have been dead. Oh gosh, now the barrel's hit and I'm almost dead. Okay, so we got a couple grenades still for Hurley. Let's go ahead and get closer to this guy. Try to take him out here. Okay, so you can pretty much one-shot them, right? It's possible, but with that in mind, there are a plethora of other shotguns that you would be able to get the one hit with. I don't know if the Tidal Wave is the worst non-landscaper unique shotgun. I'm interested to take a look at the landscaper as well now. We'll go ahead and get over by Hurley in just a second. Grab one more grenade here. Go ahead and reload. Give me those grenades. Alright. Yikes. That's not enough damage there. I wanted to take off one of his arms, but we couldn't do it. Let's see if we can get a barrel second wind here. I've done it in the past. Throw me a barrel, bitch. Nope, he's just going to shotgun us to death. Got beat up by Hurley. That's not good at all. Oh well. We'll go ahead and give it another shot here. It's unfortunate, you know. Like I said, Hurley was going to be an interesting challenge because his critical hit spots were so high. What I wanted to do was take out his arms quickly, and then I thought we'd be able to survive. But it just did not work. Hurley beat us up. It happens, though. Alright, so we can take out Hurley's arms, but man, it is... And then if you want to be close enough to deal damage to him, he's going to stomp you to death. So... this is one of those weapons that is just very, very underwhelming. It does suck in certain situations, even after its buff, which is, that's a tall order, you know. Most weapons aren't that bad to begin with, and this one's still pretty bad. So, we'll definitely probably end up picking the Flayer over this guy, but we'll take a look at how it does. You know, if the Flayer's as bad as this, well, maybe we'll keep this, but... I'd imagine the Flayer is going to be a lot more fun and satisfying to use than this weapon is, because this weapon is truly unsatisfying. I mean, how does it not one-shot that guy there, you know? Almost any other, you know, unique or better Jakobs shotgun would have one-shot that guy there. So, that's just kind of disappointing. Do we one-shot this guy? No! What in the world? Yeah, I do not like this weapon. It's not a good weapon. Does it suck? I mean... Borderlands still, right? I mean, you can still do things with it. You can still get kills with it. But compared to a lot of other weapons, yeah, it still kind of sucks. So, a little bit of a letdown there, but there is, you know, a silver lining. Let's take a look at that Flayer in the next episode. Hopefully, it's a lot better. As always, guys, I thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate it. If you haven't yet taken the time to subscribe, please do so. I'd appreciate that as well. Otherwise, I do hope to catch you next time. Bye, guys.